I'm going to talk for a moment about ladies' pens. This is not a lady's pen, though any lady could buy this and use it herself. I have had many pens that were made for men. Even the senior Parker duofold in lapis lazuli, I had the name Hattie F. Hussey on it, which was perfect for what I imagined Hattie F. Hussey to look like and to be like. She was the personification of not only Marie Dressler, but also Wallace Berry. If they had a love child, they would have Hattie F. Hussey, I'm sure of it. A battle axe and then some. Battleship, battle axe, and a woman to listen to and obey. So, anyway, a man's pen back in the olden days had a clip on it. Women's pens back in the olden days had a ring on the top of it. Why, do you ask? Because they didn't have pockets, those women, and they would, in order to carry the pen with them, they would wear it around their neck. So oftentimes you'll see pictures of librarians or teachers, maybe occasionally a secretary. Those are the jobs, of course, that women could have. Hattie F. Hussey, however, didn't need to do that. She, had a gold mine somewhere or something. I don't know what Hattie F. Hussey did for money, but I don't think she had to work in the same way that some women had to do. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent that I didn't want to go on to. So, being that these pens were seen on the person and not in a pocket, oftentimes these pens were decorated as if they were jewelry because they were worn like jewelry. I think in many ways these pens were not made pretty because women like pretty things. Men like pretty things too. But I think part of it was you did see this on the outside of their blouse. So therefore pen manufacturers thought, well, let's kill two birds with one stone. If we're going to be selling a pen as jewelry, let's make it look like jewelry. So these pens are perfect examples of pens that were made for women. All with ring tops. Some are rather plain, like this Hicks pen. This is a rather late pen, probably from the 30s. These are from the 20s. Parker's pen look like they're little duofolds. These look like they were made by locomotive engineers on a day off. They're so beautifully built. Oftentimes these ladies' pens were made daintier in stature to go along with the daintier, smaller build of women of the day. For the smaller, daintier, more delicate woman's hand. I'm sure I'm rubbing all sorts of people the wrong way, but you'll forgive me because I'm transporting my brain back to 1920, and my brain is a male brain from 1920, so I'm thinking chauvinistically for this particular recording. But like Judge Kavanaugh, I have respect for women, right? I hope I have a lot more respect than he does. However, anyway, back to my diatribe here. So most pen companies made pens for men and pens for women. The Schaefer Pen Company, on the other hand, made pens for men and pens for drag queens. These are way too masculine an object to be in the hands of a dainty woman. I say this, why do I say this? Again, speaking the way I am as a 1920s man. They have a clunkiness. These are the proportion of the cap to the barrel from the capped pen to the length of the pen. All of this is beautiful. It has a very lovely appearance in both forms of their use. These pens, on the other hand, don't. They have a clunkiness to the proportions. The cap looks too small. They roll off the table as well. They keep sliding off. I'm writing on a slanted surface. Who owned this pen? This is a very Elba, very weird engraving on this one. Almost looks like it's pounded in as much as it is engraved. But anyway, the cap is shorter, and the cap, when it's posted on the back, is sort of dumb looking too. It just doesn't, this proportion is weird. But I just realized, and again, these are things that I don't realize until I'm actually making these videos for you people out there, is I learn things as I open my gob and words come out. I understand things, and I'll explain what I just learned. Put those aside. By the way, you do this at home. Drag queens have their stage names, and you too can have a stage name if you take your first childhood pet's name and your street name where you grew up. So my transvestite, I guess it is a transvestite. My drag queen name is Tiger Del Ridge, which I think is kind of nice. Tiger Del Ridge. My brother's pet was Misty, the dog. Misty Del Ridge. So it works, you see. Try it yourself at home. So the problem with a lady's pen is often, this is around your neck, closed, right? And you can either go through the trauma of undressing in front of your students by reaching behind you and lifting this chain or this ribbon around your head and mess up your hairdo and do all sorts of stuff like that. But it's also, it is undressing, and I think that would have caused all sorts of trauma with people like Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh, when in his youth he would just get sidetracked by watching that. So women would instead, rather than taking it off, they would just unclip this and deal with that, or they would unscrew this, leave the cap clipped where it was around their neck, and they would hold this in their hand and they would write the little note to Judge Kavanaugh's mother. Dear Mrs. Kavanaugh. Your son continues to interrupt class by drinking beer and blacking out. So, and before you ask, I have never blacked out from drinking beer. If you're watching this video years from now, you probably won't even know what I'm talking about, but it is a topical thing at the moment. So anyway, you unscrew this and the teacher, Mrs. Kellogg, or whatever her name would be, is writing with this pen the note to whatever she's writing on, you know. Good work, Johnny. Great job, Brenda. And you notice how small it is. Now I don't have huge hands. Huge hands, huge, they're huge. I have just regular sized hands for a man, but it's even small. It's hard to hold this pen. So you would need the cap maybe to hold it correctly and effectively. So you'd undo that. However, with the Sheaffer pen, and maybe this is why they did this short cap, long barrel routine. The barrel is a little bit longer. Is it longer? Here, I'm coming up with a theory and I haven't even tested it out. It is a little bit longer. So with this, the cap could remain on the ribbon around my neck, and I could hold the pen in my hand and it would still be long enough to sort of be held by that part of my hand. So maybe that's why they did it. You'd have to go back to get your time machine and go to the inventor section of the Sheaffer Pen Company to come up with that, to find out whether that was in fact true or not. But another thing that's interesting about these pens, and I don't know if it's because they haven't been used very much, is they're really hard to fit on the back. This one isn't, but some of them are really, really tight, which implies to me, that's tight, implies to me that these weren't posted very often. How about the hard rubber ones? I don't know. See, I'm thinking too much, and I'm talking way too much, and you're listening to me way too much. No, you're not. You're listening to me just the right amount, right, kitty? My cat's watching me here, saying, why are you writing all over my bed? Because he wants to sleep right here, because that's where the action is, right, kitty? So I guess I better let him go to sleep. Thanks for listening to me. If you are a drag queen and need a pen for your costume, I would recommend one of these. These were, after all, made for you, not for dames.